Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. If we have some other people trickle in, that is fine. But today we are going to be talking about incident reporting. This really ties into a couple of different places in the system. You can use it for performance reviews, you can use it for goal setting, and you can use it for point tracking. If you have time and attendance, then you can directly associate your points with an incident, or you can add, when you're creating an incident, you can also associate point accruals with that. So creating incidents, really how we start the implementation process is going to be looking at your handbook and your policies and just seeing exactly what types of incidents you guys consider to be something that you would want to write someone up for, or that you would want to track. So we would look through your handbook, or you would give us a list of those different categories. And when you're setting things up in the system, there's 3 different things that we need to look at. So under HR setup, company settings, HR setup, and then incidents, you have incident types, resolutions, and violations. So your first level is going to be these incident types. So that's going to be your categories, such as insubordination, safety violation, time and attendance, tardiness. So tardiness, I would say, is actually more of a specific event, but time and attendance would be a category, insubordination would be a category, a safety violation is a main category. So we would set up those different types of incidents, and then we would set up the actual violations. So those are going to be very specific events. So an early clock out, or a late arrival, or smoking on company property, or, you know, getting into a fight, things like that are going to be the actual incidents. Within these, let me go back to our types actually. Within each of these categories, you can define a couple of different things. So you can say who it's visible to, whether comments are anonymous. You can define your workflow. So depending on the type of incident, you may need higher management to get involved, so you can have a more in-depth workflow for those, whereas something as simple as being late for work may just require a manager approval, and then, you know, that's it. And then further, there's the points. So if you do have timekeeping, you can enable points to be tracked based on the incidents, and you can set up how many points they would accrue based on the incident that has been that has taken place. And then you can have resolutions enabled or not, signatures, the type of violation, and then if you have workers' comp set up in the system, you can also have a workers' claim section. So all of that is really handy to have set up. And then the last piece is the resolution. So that's going to be, how are you handling this incident? Is it a written warning, a verbal warning? Are they being terminated, suspended? And all of this is completely customizable to your company. So whatever your policies are is what we would implement in the system. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through what it's like to apply an incident to an employee. So it's going to start with either a manager or administrator adding a new incident. So they're just going to go into the employee's profile and click Add New Incident. This is where your incident types are set up. So I'm going to select time and attendance today. And I'm just going to click on my little magnifying glass to open the incident. And then as you can see, I have a lot of information that I can collect here. So if you guys have incident IDs, you can track that. Violations, so that's going to be all the violations that I have set up in the system. So I'm going to say that Casey arrived late today. And the incident happened today at 8:14. And it was reported today at 8:25. You can set the status. So right now I'm going to say we're in progress. It's a low priority, not a huge deal. And then we can set resolution dates. So we probably want this resolved by, today or tomorrow maybe, to talk to her and just say, hey, we don't want you to be late again. And then after this has actually been resolved, we can set the resolution date and we can do whatever resolution we suggest to the manager. So we'll just say suspension. And I'll save it. If there's information that you still need to collect from certain people, that would be a reason why you would save it. Once you're ready to actually submit it through the workflow, everything's completed, you can click submit. There is an ability with workflow that you can allow people to modify. So once you have applied certain things, if there's anything in here that was incorrect, maybe that the manager doesn't agree with, they can edit that information at any time. The last piece is this points down here. So let's say I want her to accrue 1 point for being late, and then I can say process points. And then her points balance is going to be modified within her profile. So at this time, I'm just going to go ahead and submit this. And now I'm going to log in to my first workflow manager, which is our admin, Kathy Watts. So Kathy has the ability to approve, reject, and modify this request. So if I just click the approve button, it's going to disappear from my to-do items. If I reject, it's going to disappear from my to-do items. But if I click modify, it's going to open it and I can edit any of the information that was already there. If you don't want your managers to be able to modify, you can have them just able to view. And then if they agree with the information, they can approve it. Next is going to be my manager. So that is Baker, Jason Baker. Okay, so he also has a to-do item, but he does not have the ability to modify. So all he can do is look at this incident, verify that the information is correct, and then approve. After that, I have the employee ready to sign. So at this time, Casey is going to get a notification telling her that an incident has been created based on her being late today, and she needs to sign off on this. So she also has the ability to view the incident, make sure she agrees with it, and then she can sign. And there's a sign as employee button up here. She'll have to put in her password to verify the information. Okay, that's through. And then the next person in the workflow is going to be her manager. He will also sign off once the employee has signed off. Or maybe, actually I think it might be Kathy Watts. Sorry about that. Where did it go? Check my workflow really fast. Okay, once the employee signs, the manager signs, and Kathy signs. Okay. Should be the manager. Okay, well, I apologize. I don't know why this isn't showing up for the manager to sign, but I think you probably understand. So the employee can sign, the manager can sign. and then the admin can ultimately close the incident. So once the incident is closed, you can come in here and view all of the information at any time. The status would then update to closed incident, and then no information can be edited any further. So that is essentially how the incident reporting works. It can be as simple as, just the manager approving it, or, you don't even have to have a workflow assigned to it. If you just want to say add new, create the incident, and then import the information and then say close incident, then you're done. That's totally fine as well. The workflow is just an added functionality so that you can have the information go to other people if it is kind of a higher problem, I guess, in the company. So the next piece that I wanted to go over is the goals. So this goals section is going to go hand in hand with incidents and performance reviews. So when someone is late a lot, or they are getting in fights a lot, or something is going on frequently, or if there's just something that you find to be very problematic, you might need to set some trainings or some behavioral goals on this employee. So we have this goals section, and you can assign company or personal goals. Company goals are going to be things that are more company-wide, so sales goals, projects, things like that. But a personal goal would be something more closely related to employees by themselves. So this might be show up to work on time is the goal, because Casey just can't get it together and she's always late. So we're going to say this goal is effective from now until whenever. So the category is going to be attendance, and then we want to add this to our performance review, because at the end of the year, when we are going through and evaluating her performance for the year, we want to know how she's done on this goal. So right now our percentage is at 0%. The status is new. We're starting today, and we're going to say the supporting details are Casey is consistently late. And we're going to save it. So now Casey has a personal goal for attendance, and her manager or an admin can go into this goal at any time, and they can add notes, which are communicated back and forth between the employee and the manager. You can see it's kind of like an email system where you can mark it as read or unread. Employees can add self-notes, and then you can add supporting documents. So if you wanted to add something that happened with the incident, you could add supporting documents here. And then this is where Casey can really update, or the manager could update how the goal is going. So, if we are getting closer to the end of the year and she's doing really well with her attendance, then we might put, okay, she's about, 75% there. We're getting really close to her being, 100% going up to work on time. So we're just going to save that, and then you can consistently update that information. Then by the time your performance review comes, you will know how she did with that goal. So, any questions at this time? If you guys have questions, you can enter those in the chat box on your GoToMeeting widget. And this setup is really, really simple, and the only thing is that you have to have HR enabled, the HR module. So if you do have the HR module, this is very easy to set up. It's very easy to track. I mean, you don't have to include your manager. So if that was just something you as an HR manager want to track within the system so that you can have that information all in one place as everything else is, this is a really easy setup to do. It's quick, and then as you adjust your policies, it's very easy to just add the new policy into the system and you know, update things as you go along. So, and it's nice to have this for, you know, if someone is terminated and they file an unemployment claim, you have all of this information easily at your disposal. You can download a PDF of this information at any time. So if you needed to provide this as a document to an employment claim, all of that is easily accessible to you. You can also upload documents when you're creating the incident. So if there's, you know, a note that might have been written, or if there are pictures, anything like that, that information can be uploaded and stored within the document as well. So it doesn't look like anyone has any questions at this time. You guys are more than welcome to drop off if you want to. If you don't have any questions, I think that was pretty much all I had for you today. Just a quick little, you know, update on incident reports and how you can use them. If there is something that your company specifically is concerned about, or you're curious about how the point system works, or if it'll fit your workflow, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm available to, you know, look at your situation in more detail. So I appreciate everyone for joining us today. I'm going to stay on here for the next 12 minutes or so until we reach 3:30, just in case anyone has questions. But thank you all for joining. And like I said, if you have questions, feel free to reach out.
Hey, Tony, this is Donna Knox.
Hi.
In looking at this incident reporting, how would this interface with our time and attendance point system?
So there's a couple things that you can do. You go into like the point profiles that can be set up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a rule that you can set up that auto creates incidents. So if someone has a point, then you can't, or has a point accrual, then you can have an incident auto created based on the point that gets accrued, and then you can assign different actual, what are those called? violations to the incident. So the incident would get created, and then you would fill out the incident report. And then also, as you saw within the actual, when you create a new incident, if it has the points enabled in the settings, you can say how many points you want to be accrued for this employee based on this.
Okay, so like our corrective action is issued, we have a verbal warning at 4 points, a first written at 7, a final written at 11, and termination at 15. How do we automate that to work with this?
So if you get to a certain number of points, you want the incidents to get created with those type of resolutions is kind of what I'm hearing, right? So
right, I want the corrective action form to show, you know, you're on May 14th, you were 4 hours late, so you have a half-day absence, you get 1 point.
Right.
On May 21st, you didn't come to work at all, so you were absent full day, you got 2 points.
Right. So
this is your total number of points, and these are the absences for them.
So do you create a corrective action form for every incident that happens, or is it just once they get to that 7 points? Or
once they get to 4, 7, 11, or 15.
Okay. All right. So we'd need to probably do some more research because I don't know if it is where there it is. I don't know if there's a way to accrue it based on a certain number of points getting accrued. So I probably need to do some further, that's actually a really great question. I will do some further research into that, and then can I shoot you an email or give you a call and get back to you?
Sure, and what I'll do in the meantime is I'll send you what our corrective action form currently looks like and see if there's any way to incorporate the process, maybe not the exact, you know, but right now we've got it set up in an Excel spreadsheet, and it looks like a Word document when you print it.
Okay.
But it lists all of the absences to date each time corrective action is issued.
Okay, I gotcha. All right. So, okay, perfect. Yeah, if you can send that to me, that would be super helpful. Do you, because I know you're wanting to get your HR stuff up and running, do you want, I mean, I can look at this now right now. You're the only one left on the call. I don't know if we have your incident set up or not. No, we don't.
I don't think so, because I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, we don't have anything set up for you. So if you want to send me any documentation that you have, I can start getting that set up as well. That way you can kind of play around with it if you want to. And then once I get an answer back on the corrective action, different points, issuing corrective action, then we can go from there.
Is your email T. Shively?
Yes.
Shively?
Correct.
It'd be so much easier tracking even just the ins and outs. Because there's really no good way right now for us to track other than a spreadsheet who's received the corrective action, who hasn't. And if we've got the option to do